Que paso, amigos? In this video, I'm going to show you how to assign a domain to your Bluehost account. And assigning a domain is when you add an extra domain to be handled by the same by one Bluehost account. So when you set up your Bluehost account, you normally, but not always, you normally set it up with the domain. You've already got a domain. And therefore, when you set up the Bluehost account, whatever domain you enter at the setup process becomes known as the primary domain. However, you can actually add other domains to that account, um, which would basically mean that those sites, the site files for those additional websites would be on the same Bluehost account as the one controlling your primary domain. So in Bluehost parlance, you can say assign, or you can assign an additional domain to this account. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to do that. Yeah, let's get into it. So before you assign a domain, let's just run through the things that you need to have in order to do that. Obviously, you need to have a Bluehost account, so that's just a given. In addition to that, you can't do this on the very most basic account that Bluehost offers. And that's because that account only allows one URL or one domain name to be associated with the account. So if you're trying to do this with a basic account, you'd need to upgrade to one of the other higher level accounts. If you want to upgrade, I'll leave a link in the description below to an article I wrote which compares all the different plans that they have based on skill level and also your budget. By skill level, I mean your skill level with server administration. So that's in the link below. Okay, so let's have a look at step one. So basically, log into your Bluehost account and you'll see something like this. On the left-hand side corner, we're going to go to domains, then we're going to go to assign. And you've got a bunch of different options here that we can run through in order to assign a domain. The first thing we're going to want to select is whether or not we've already assigned this domain in the past. Given that this is a video about assigning a domain, I'm going to assume that you haven't done that, and that in that case, you should select the second option. What's going to happen there is that you're going to then enter the domain that you have purchased. Let's say BTC Sri Lanka, for example, and then it's going to tell you, it's going to assess that that URL. So I've actually already assigned that particular URL. So I am not going to do that. If you typed in, say, just whatever your website is going to be, doesn't matter. What it's going to do then is check if you have already changed the name servers for this URL to be that of Bluehost. So if you haven't, then you need to do that in order for this process to work. So if you want to do that, you have to log into the account where you bought the domain from. Like I said, I used Namecheap. So if we go over to the account where you registered your domain at, in my case, I use Namecheap. However, you might be using a different service. Just scroll down to wherever on the dashboard, wherever it is that you can edit the name server information and change them to, just ignore what's already there and change them to the Bluehost name servers, which you can Google, but also I've presented them here on the blog, which is the inspiration for this video, how to assign a domain in your Bluehost server. So I'll drop a link down to that down below. And you're taking this information here, NS1, ns1.bluehost.com and ns2.bluehost.com. You're taking both of those and you're taking them and putting them one each in here. And then you're just saving, and then that's it. In a few moments after that, then you can redo this step here, and then Bluehost will, after a few moments, will have read that you have changed your name servers and you can proceed. Um, there's one other option as well, which is that Bluehost actually allows you to purchase domains as well. So if you have purchased your domain through Bluehost, then these name servers will already be pointing at Bluehost, at the Bluehost name servers. So actually, you wouldn't have to do that step. Um, but yeah, that's name servers, and we're actually almost done here. Then Bluehost is going to ask you if you want to use this as an add-on domain, a park domain, or an unassigned domain. And then depending on your use case or what you're doing with the site, you can select the appropriate one. So an add-on domain is one that is a live website and points to a website on your server. Okay, that might not be the same one as your primary. Sorry, it won't be the same one as your primary domain. Um, so yeah, you can select the add-on domain if that's applicable to you. Just have a read of this and understand how that works. You can park a domain. So if you want to, say you bought like yoursite.com and that's your primary domain, and then you also bought yoursite.net or .org or whatever, um, then that's what's known as a park domain. And basically, you would select that option if you're wanting that newly purchased domain to point to the original primary domain. So you can select that. And an unassigned domain. And an unassigned domain is one that just doesn't point to any particular website on your host. I can't see much reason why you'd be doing that, but that could be the case. Maybe you just haven't quite figured out how to proceed on that yet. And then if if you are in need of um, having the new domain name point at an existing site on the server, then you can select to use an existing directory, and then you can select the directory. Most of the time, I don't do that, and I just let Bluehost create a new directory. But that does depend on what you selected up here in step 3. So just be aware of that. And then once you're done, you can just hit assign domain, and that is it. Sometimes you might need to wait a few minutes just for the name servers and the domain name registration to sort of propagate around the web. But otherwise, you're done. Thanks, guys. See you in the next video.